Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the New Era Paranormal Podcast. This week we have JD and Irene back for a podcast interview, this time with Kristen Velvotich. Kristen is a co-founder of the Kind of Woke Paranormal team. She's a podcast host and an author. So, Kristen, how did you get involved with the paranormal research field?
Yeah, so I always kind of say that I was born into it. I'm an October baby, so always had Halloween birthday parties and just love the fall. So I feel like it's kind of cliche to say that all the original ghost shows, like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, like all of them, I just love them. And then there was actually a chance to investigate. Well, the first place I investigated was Ohio State Reformatory. Like, go big or go home. But once I started to notice there were chances to do it on my own, then I was like, like instead of just watching it, I wanna be a part of it. So that's kind of how I got started and into it.
That's pretty cool. That moment when everybody does realize that it's exciting, when you realize you can go and investigate places and you can get the equipment and you can have all the things that you need.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's you see the stuff that they use and then you realize some of it's expensive. Yeah. But other stuff is pretty affordable. So I swear that we just started out with like a K2 meter, like and a flashlight. Like that's it.
Yeah. That's what I was just gonna say, how excited I was to get that first K2 meter when it showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm official.
Yeah, I remember we stopped at Best Buy to buy a digital recorder before we went to OSR, and that was the first piece of equipment I had. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely helps to do your research because name brand stuff is very expensive, but there's always the alternatives.
Oh yeah.
That's true. And now it's a lot easier because we have Amazon and things like that where you can compare and search for things and
Etsy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and some of it, I almost feel like the more expensive stuff, I don't like to use it anymore. Like, I feel like a mag light is the one thing that I always make sure I have because I get some amazing evidence with that, and you can get it for $10 at Walmart. So
I love a good just a recorder, a type of recorder that works. EVPs are my favorite piece of evidence to capture. Or a plastic ball rolling, like one of the inflatable ball that rolls down a set of stairs. It's my favorite. Like simple things. Yeah. I've gone back to more of the, I still like some of the more technological things, but I've gone back to a lot of the simpler.
Yeah.
Or even just using a bell. That's another thing.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like you start out with the cheap stuff, and then you oh, now I need the expensive stuff. You get it, and then you realize that a lot of the times the easy to get and the cheap stuff is the stuff that works the best. So
yeah. Do you ever wonder if that's because it's easier for them to manipulate too? So maybe the higher tech, maybe it's just not as easy for them to manipulate as something that's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe we're overthinking it and what we can see and what we can't see.
Right.
Maybe we haven't found that perfect recipe for getting, and I don't know if we ever will, quite honestly. If I were a spirit and I were haunting someplace, I would definitely do my best to drive everybody crazy.
Oh, absolutely. I'd be the one where they're like, okay, it's time to pack up. Let's
and then start giving them evidence.
Oh yeah.
Stop when they all sit down and they're ready to go.
Yes. Exactly. That will be me.
So Kristen, how did you end up? Was I'm blanking on the name at the moment, Kind of Woke Paranormal, was that the first group that you were a part of or you started?
Yeah. So me and my friend Lauren, who I've known since I literally don't remember a time that I didn't know her because we've been friends since we were 5. We were all into the same creepy stuff, creepy ghost shows and all of that right from the beginning. So I went with a college friend to OSR because we used to watch, we would just absolutely terrify ourselves watching shows. And then I would have to go home to my apartment by myself like, and sleep with the lights on. So I went with her to OSR first, but Lauren, I took to the Lake County Historical Society was the first place I started investigating, like up in the Cleveland area. So she came with me, and then we got that itch and then kept doing more and more. And like we saw, like just kind of infiltrating the like actual reality paranormal and not like the TV, like glorified, what we would think of as paranormal, like actually seeing the real stuff. So it's like people had these teams and different stuff. And especially we would see that at the Historical Society. And we're like, we want a team. And so we're like, we like had joked because I feel like we're sensitive in different ways and like different, abilities and different things. So we had joked that like how woke we were. Like that's where the name came from. Because people like now woke is as a derogatory term, I feel like all the time. But at that point, we're like, okay, well, like I'm kind of sensitive in this way or like do better this way. She's kind of in another way. So we're like, well, we're kind of woke. And we just never could think of a better name. Like we're like, that's it. So that was the name. And it still kind of holds true, is that we all kind of are varying levels of, sensitive, intuitive, whatever you want to call it. And it also goes to half the time when we're at locations, we're tired. So we're only kind of woke. Like, so double meaning, partial sensitivity, partial like, we're old and can't stay up past our bedtimes anymore.
I remember when I first saw you, I also like the logo. When I first saw you at the Riders Inn, Menor, not Painesville, right? Is that Menor, the Riders Inn?
Riders Inn is technically Painesville, like right on the border.
Okay. Yeah. So, and when you were at one of their events, yeah, and I love the little ghosts. One of my favorite.
I know. So that's like the other kind of joke is that we're kind of cute, kind of creepy. Like we enjoy pink and like cute things, but we also like want to be in an abandoned hospital that probably has asbestos. So like and like spooky things. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. We try not to take ourselves too seriously.
That's good. Especially, a lot of people take things too seriously these days, and you see, groups, they work together, then they, 1 minute they're together, then the next minute they're not, and it's kind of nice when people can just have fun together.
Yeah.
And just have a good time.
Yeah.
The kind of woke is associated with Madison Seminary, right? You want to talk a little bit about
most of us
in Madison, Ohio.
Yep. Yeah. So that was kind of so we did mostly the Lake County Historical Society. We did a few times of like the OSR public hunts. And then it was actually during the pandemic, we saw a 10-person ghost hunt for Madison. And Lauren and I were like, oh, we got to go. Like we had heard about it, but hadn't got to visit. So we went and just fell in love with it. And so like 2 weeks later, they had another one and we were back. And then it's like, then we did public hunt, and then we did a private, and kind of just didn't go away ever. So finally they were like, do you girls want to just volunteer and help, because you're here all the time and the history, you've done the tours. And so I'm there. I mean, I was there Friday, like pretty much there all the time. Our another teammate, Jackie, she's there a lot. She lives in Madison. She's close. And then Lauren lives a little bit further away, so she's there when she can be. But yeah, we're part of the Mad Crew as well, so it's fun. We love it there. It's our home base.
That's awesome. It's a great location.
Yeah.
You picked a good one.
I know. People will come in. We do flashlight tours a lot, and people will come in and they're like, oh, when do you have experiences, whatever? And I'm like, I've never been there and not had anything happen at all. Like, it's always something going on. So it's a blast to be a part of.
So what's your most memorable experience?
The very first time I was there. So we were in where the superintendent's quarters would be. And we were sitting kind of in one of the rooms, in the four corners. And I don't remember if we were just trying to do EVPs. I know that there were EVPs, so just kind of trying to interact. and it was cold, and I'm just like sitting there not moving, and all of a sudden I feel this like super cold mass like right on my lap. And then I had like a zip up hoodie, and you could hear kind of like someone was like flicking the zipper on my hoodie. I'm literally like not even breathing. Like I'm like frozen in place, and I was like, do you guys hear that? Like something is literally sitting on my lap and playing with my zipper. And everyone could hear it. We do have it on EVP that like you can just hear like the faintest like kind of flicking of the like the zipper and the metal. And so at that point we had like someone run down and get Shelly, who is kind of like our mother of the Mad Crew now.
Yes.
So we
She's
had
the queen of Madison. She's
yeah. Yes. We had her come up when we were investigating and stuff. And what we think, who we think it was a woman by the name of Ida. And I guess when the Nixons were there, I just found this out Friday night. She would come like sneak in and like flip the light switch on and off, like messing around. And the superintendent was like, as long as you're not standing in front of the TV or like whatever it was, like you're not bothering me. And so we think that it was kind of her, like literally we think she like came over and sat on my lap and was like flipping the like zipper up and down. So that was one of those things that like we left there that night, and I was like, oh my God, like, this place is legit. Because I never had anything like that happen. So it was
pretty cool.
I think I upset her because I was scared, or like kind of startled her. And I was like, I didn't mean to upset you. Like you kind of caught me off guard. So yeah, so that was, I mean, otherwise like we could sit and talk this entire time about stuff that's happened there. But that was the first thing that got me hooked.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to get back and investigate. It's a great location.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you have Kind of Woke Paranormal, you work with Madison, and you do investigations. You've got a great team of people that you work with. Now you decided to go off into the world of, authorship.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to talk a little bit about, what it's called, your book. It's called Paranormal Passport, and what it entails, and so that yes, there it is. You have it. There you go. Okay.
Like my Vanna White. Yeah. So this is kind of a roller coaster story, but I love things that you can collect. I've always been a collector. And a few years ago, me and my husband were in Alaska on vacation, and I had a like national parks passport book. So I was so excited to stamp off like locations in Alaska. Like that was a place that we never thought we'd be able to get to. And so I'm like, yeah, like I have Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio, like these other places that are not like super exciting. So like to be able to stamp off the Alaska ones, I was super pumped about. And I was talking with my friend Becca that runs a team in Michigan. And at the same time, we're like, oh, what if there was one for ghost hunting? Like, because she was into that kind of stuff, too. And so I'm like, that's what there should be. And there's like a few things that are kind of like, like the big famous locations, but there wasn't anything that was like the Madison seminaries or, like the kind of lesser known places. So I'm like, okay, we're going to work on this. We're going to get it done. And it was just like, life is busy, right? Like it was just, it was like we'd start to work on it and then things would happen. And then it didn't really get anywhere. And then in September of 2023, I was at MadCon at Madison Seminary, and then left for a wedding. And while I was at the wedding, I had a ruptured brain aneurysm. So was out for a while and was in the ICU for 2 weeks, and then came home and was off work for about half a year, recovering. And at the beginning of that time, it was very like just rest and relax and heal. And
yeah, it's a miracle you're standing, or sitting there in front of us. It's
right. Yeah. So I'm a very like busybody. So to be able to just sit and relax, like after that initial healing phase, I was like, I'm bored. What am I going to do? And I was like, it's time to write that book. like I'm not going to just sit here and, sit around and not do anything. So yeah, like that's how it started out. Like we had kind of had the roadmap for the idea, but hadn't really gotten the chance to put all the work that would go into it. So yeah, so while I was off, I designed the book, designed the artwork, designed the interior, did all the fun facts that are in it, and kind of designed the entire book. And then I don't remember any, like very close to about when I went back to work is when I published the book. So yeah, so this is my little like recovery baby. It was healing in like the fact that actually like typing and calling people and sending emails and stuff, like I hadn't been on my computer in months. So that was kind of like brain therapy. And then it was like soul therapy because it was something I wanted to do so bad and just didn't have the time otherwise. So definitely, like I said, it's all over the place, like the story, but that's how it happened.
Well, it's almost like this was a dream you had and life forced you to finish what you started. And I think it's a great book. It's a great companion, especially because you know what it's like to be somebody new in the paranormal world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to get the information you need and find the locations you want to find. And then when you go to these places, you have no idea what you're walking into in terms of where the location is and where to stay or where to eat or where, so you have kind of at least some kind of roadmap.
Yeah.
For everybody.
So,
there you go.
For example. Yeah. So each state in the book has a map and then has all the, like I don't show the other side, but like, here's the list of locations and then their corresponding numbers are on here where they're at. So it's kind of nice. Like if you're like, oh, I live in the Toledo area, there's like kind of several that are all right together, or like Central Ohio, Cleveland. So yeah, that's nice. And then I'm extra. So mine are color coded, like once I visit them. So like our kind of woke group is pink. And then I investigate a lot with my friends in Michigan and their color's green. So down here is a green. So if I went with them, it gets color coded green. So it's kind of like my checklist of here's all the places that have stuff. Well, not all of them, but here's at least a good start to get to. And then here's where they're at. So
that's pretty cool. And then you give little bits of information about the area too, right?
Yeah. So let me pull up. Yeah, so it kind of looks like this. So it has the name of the location. This line that you can't see here is all the contact information. So like the address, phone number, website. And then these circles are actually the amenities that we as a ghost hunter would want to think about. So things like running water, restrooms, electricity, heating and cooling, like different stuff. So there's a key in the front that shows like what each of these symbols mean. And then if the location has them, then they're filled in. It has a spot to like write about your experience. Right here's like a did you know, like a fun fact. And most of these are meant to like not to lead you into, like, oh, there was a lady there that was murdered, so I'm going to look for her. Like it's actually usually about like the architecture or the history of the building or the time period it was, built or whatever. Then on the other page, you have a K2 because like we said, almost everyone starts out with a K2.
I love that.
You can actually like rank your location. So Madison is off the charts always. So like how I do it is I put like a little word here. So it says home. And then it has like I've color coded, of course, in that it's off the charts. And then you have a place to stamp your book once you've been there. So we actually have a stamp like for your passport. So yeah. So you get to kind of document everything. And I always say it's kind of a key to write your own story as well, because no two of these passports that anyone has are going to be the same. They're all going to be different. So it's literally kind of like a guide to then writing your own paranormal story.
That's
So,
pretty cool.
Yeah. I haven't even filled out the Madison one yet because I'm like, I don't even know where to start. But like, there's just so much. But like, Fairfield County Infirmary is another place we go to. You can't probably really see it, but again, color coded, written in pink about one of the times that we were there. Too. Yeah, I'm not like I take it to the extreme. So yeah, so it's written in pink because I visited with my crew. I got my stamp, but then my experience here is also all the way red.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool. And sometimes like when I was filling this out after the fact, because a lot of these places I've already been to, it's kind of fun to like kind of dig back into those experiences and remember stuff. Because I would talk to like Lauren if I went somewhere with her or my Michigan crew and be like, remind me again, like the highlights of this trip that we had. And then it's like, oh, I forgot that happened there, like some of those other things. So it's been fun to keep track of that too.
Well, you better get filling that in because you have your next book coming out. What's awesome is this is a series.
Yes.
And it's a Paranormal Passport Appalachia, right?
Yep.
Or Appalachia. Yep. It depends on who you
I feel like every person you talk to like pronounces it different. I've been pronouncing it Appalachia just because that's what I've heard more recently, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, the goal is to eventually get a passport for every state in the US, like every place you can go to. So we started with the Great Lakes region because that is where I am from. That's where I have the most experience and connections and everything. So it was easiest to start at home. And then, the next one will be Great Lakes, not Great Lakes, Paranormal Passport Appalachia, because kind of we've infiltrated into theirs a little bit as well because it's pretty close to home. Yeah. So that's on pre-order. It's been a little bit more delayed than I liked, because another thing about the passport is every location that's in here has been personally contacted to make sure the information is correct and to make sure I have their permission to be in the book. So there's a few places that it's like back and forth that I've been trying to get a hold of in that region because I don't want to leave them out. But like it's getting to the point where it's going to have to be like, okay, if you don't get back to me, like, I'm sorry, but unfortunately,
yeah. So can you give us a hint, maybe one or two places that are going to be in that one?
Yeah, so I'm going to start off. The very first place I contacted for that one was the old hospital on College Hill, because that was, I don't know if you've investigated there or not.
No.
Yeah, we were there. I think actually, that was the last place we investigated before I was in the hospital, like 2 weeks before. It is stunning. The hills in the area are terrifying, like because it's literally like on the side of a hill. Like it's stunning. The owner Tanya and Charlie that run it are amazing people, and we just loved it there. So beautiful. So that's a place in it. For some reason, opera houses were a theme, like in this book. Like, don't know why. But we have a few different opera houses in different states. We have Sweet Springs Sanatorium, also in West Virginia, that was also amazing that we've been to. Let's see. I have a boat, the Haunted Majestic. I don't remember what state. I feel like they're either like Kentucky or I feel like they're West Virginia.
I think it's West Virginia. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's West Virginia.
Yeah. So
steamboat, right?
Yeah.
Like a barge or I don't know. It looked amazing. And then another so I met two ladies that run the historic village of Rugby, I believe, I might not be putting the words in the right order. But like Rugby Village in Tennessee, and then the Old Scott Jail. So they do a podcast as well. And when I called to kind of like ask permission, I feel like the further away I get, people are like more skeptical because they don't, like they don't really know who you are or what you're doing. And you probably haven't met them before. And they like drilled me. Like, what are your intentions? What's the catch? And so like we talked.
Nobody's really doing good just to do good. Nobody's doing that.
Right. They're like, you're gonna like sneak and somehow make us pay, like something is a catch. And I was like, no, there's not a catch. Like, I want to get people to come and visit you, like especially my group that doesn't know about you. So we had a good conversation. Then I ended up being on their podcast a few months ago to kind of talk about it and promote the book, and then like kind of laugh about how they gave me a good
background check on you before.
Yeah. So those two places are in it as well. And I can't wait to get to visit them like in person.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So those are a few of the highlights.
What's your, other than Madison, what is one of your favorite places to investigate so far?
I mean, that's such a loaded question, because the answer is like all of them, but there's a few places I always kind of like to highlight. And one of them is the USS Edson in Michigan. It's a retired Vietnam warship. And I always tell people it's like an adult playground. Like every button that says do not push, every wheel that says do not turn, they're like, you can touch whatever you want. The only thing that would be a problem is like if you go to the breaker box and like flip off the electricity. But you'll be in the dark. You can still be here. It was so much fun. Like we're sitting in the captain's chairs. There was like a manhole, and we're like, we would like someone to go in that. And we're like, husband, over here. So, we sent my friend Becca
we knew there was a reason they invited us on this trip.
right. We're like, you're tall and skinny. Can you go down there and just like, take some pictures and see? All of the entire crew of us that were there. So it was our Kind of Woke and then our Michigan crew. So everyone else slept in the like officers' quarters. So like the nicer bunk beds, really. I mean, like a little bit nicer beds, a little bit nicer quarters. And Jackie, that's on our team, and I were like, no, we're getting the full experience. So we literally slept in the actual bunks that the sailors slept in. So mine was like, I called it the aquarium. They had like taken the sheet metal down and put like glass so you could like see into it. So like anyone walking by, like I was asleep. I was great.
You were on display.
I was literally on display. So it was one of those places that was so cool and so different. And like, I felt like a kid, like going and like where the do not enter, we entered, like, and it was great. So yeah, shout out to USS Edson. They're amazing. They're in Bay City, I believe is what it's called, Michigan. They're also in the book. So you can get your stamp there, but it was cool. So cool.
Oh, nice. Okay. So other than paranormal investigations and your book, you're doing a special event.
I am.
Gathering at Ross House.
Yeah. So, I mean, for those that don't know me, that have only spent some time with me for half an hour, I'm guessing that you can hopefully tell by now that I like to have fun and not take things like super seriously. Like you have to, especially after what happened to me, like you have to just enjoy the little moments of life and the humor and whatever. So for the last couple years, I like to do what I call shitty tarot readings. So I really was, trying to learn how to do tarot and no offense. Like I've had a reading with Irene. I've had readings with lots of people. I really appreciate
so offended.
Like, I really appreciate the like. There's going to be a transformation in your life and this and that. Like, I really appreciate that, but I also appreciate some humor. So I will take tarot cards with me on an investigation and transform into the shitty tarot reader. And
reader's name?
I just got this name, so I needed one. Madame Zaltana, I believe, is what my name is.
That's what it's listed as, Madame Zaltana.
Yeah, the lady that runs the Ross house was the one that came up with that for me. She's like, I know, like we're gonna do this, but a good friend of mine
is the house, the haunted location in Bel Air, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So my good friend Barb Young, she has just kind of started running kind of like an event, like psychic fairs and kind of like paranormal, like spooky stuff. Events. So she knows like, and normally she'll donate money or like help fundraise or whatever for a place each location she does. And she was like, everyone that gets a shitty reading loves it. So she's like, you know what? Why don't we do an event where you do shitty readings and then we'll donate to the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. So that's our goal, is to hopefully have a shittily great event with me doing tarot, shitty tarot, and a few other people doing like make your own voodoo doll and different stuff. Kind of a play on a Galentine's Day, like because your lover scorned you.
Yes.
Let's get together and
okay, have fun. So we demand, as the co-hosts of the podcast, that you give us an example or a little taste of your shitty tarot readings.
Yeah, so I don't have my like headscarf with me. It's in the garage. Amazon special. I was like, buy one get 5 free. Very high quality. So I'm gonna ask you what you would like to know about. Like anything anything in particular? What would you like the general idea of the reading to be?
Love, finances, surprise you. What are you thinking?
Oh, finances. I don't know that I've really done a finance one. That sounds a lot of fun. So can I? No. Oh, it doesn't show my boobs. I always draw you 3 cards. That's where we're gonna start. So I will hold them up. This is how we do virtual shitty tarot readings.
We're gonna have to donate a second webcam for you.
Right. So your first card is a 10. Okay. It looks to me like you're very happily looking at these cups that are on a rainbow. Okay. So my guess is that these are drone cups. So I think drone cups, okay, over a rainbow. So this is where we're starting, okay? You're very happily with your children. They're also excited. They're not really paying attention because they're kids, but drone cups. Okay, that's where we're going. Okay, the next one we have is the 6 of Wands. So my guess is that the factory. Oh, look, there's a factory in the background. Right here. That's the drone cup factory. Okay. You can only reach it by horseback. So you either need to invest in a horse or find a rent-a-horse to get there. Okay. That's how you're going to get to your business meeting. A horse. Then we have the Emperor. So this means you are going to be the CEO of Drone Cups. So, I mean, they're happy. This is not a failure. Like, very happy adults, mostly behaved children. Drone Cups. I see it going well as long as you can obtain a horse. This is the key to your success. A horse. The end.
Oh man.
What would you like to know about?
Oh
JD?
man, I am going to ask for love because I cannot wait to hear it.
All right, another one for Irene. She wants to know about love. All right, let's get her 3. This might tie in with the Drone Cups. Got the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. To me, I'm not going to lie. I really like you and you're my friend, but you need to kind of like not make your love choices get on the ground to get presents from you. Okay. What's in these boxes? Probably Drone Cups. But you are making your potential, love interests bow down to you. You really need to get off your high horse.
Maybe I can lend my high horse to JD.
Yeah. Then we have the 7 of Wands. Okay. Again, the success from the Drone Cups, I think, has got you because you're in the desert in like platform heels. Okay.
How would I be walking on the sand? That's amazing.
I know this, or maybe you're just. I'm gonna have a glare from the light. Maybe you just think that this is something you can do, and we all know as females, these shoes not happening in the desert.
I need to make more sensible choices, is what you're telling me.
Which you did. I'm censoring. I don't want to get
rated PG. This is rated
an explicit rating. But in the end, you took it to the extreme. Trying to make sure everything's covered up here. You took it to the extreme. Like, you thought your success demanded platform heels in the desert. And then you're like, no, I need to be naked in a screen. Okay? You need to find balance between these two. Okay. You are a girl boss with your Drone Cups. And I appreciate the like down to earth that you want to be, but we need to find somewhere in the middle.
Jeez.
Best.
I can't make this shit up. It's right here in the card. So there you go, folks.
I was just in that stream yesterday too. Holy cow, you're amazing.
I hope you had your clothes on. So
that's not what the card shows.
Right now we have, contacted by the FCC or whatever censorship. Oh my god! I brought down the podcast with
everything else fell apart, so it's just
right? Like censoring it with my hands. But yeah, so like I said, it's meant to be lighthearted. The funny thing is, like, I feel a lot of people that get a shitty tarot reading from me, like what I say ends up being some sort of like resonance like with them, just in a really less shitty and weird way. So maybe what the answer to your
level you're giving a message,
right? So I think maybe for your finance one, really what the moral is to find something that you're passionate about and go for it. Right? You're passionate about the Drone Cups, and you went for it. You got on your high horse and you did it. So the message actually is find what you love and what you're excited about and do it because you're going to make it happen. And then your loved one is just remember to be you. there's no like extreme version either way. Like the best thing is to just be you. So there you go. That's
like that.
So yeah, that's the less shitty version of the reading. So it gives people a good laugh and it's fun. And for me, it's raising money for something that now is very near and dear to my brain, the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. So it's going to be a really fun time. Can't wait to do the event, and hopefully this just be the first of many shitty tarot events.
Awesome. That was great.
There's some water on the side.
Also, if you actually do drone cups, I want 10%.
I think that's fair, JD. I think that's fair. Oh man. Okay, so thank you, Madame Zoltana. We appreciate it.
I'm too tired to try and butcher the accent, but it will come out for the event.
Well, hopefully I can make it down there to get another shitty tarot reading. Okay, so what made you, well, first, what made you think of, why did you start doing it?
Like shitty tarot?
Yeah.
So like I like wanted, like, kind of when I started, like, you know, like the more spiritual path and whatever, I was like, I want to learn this stuff. Like we've kind of established, like, I'm like a chronic lifelong student, like learner. Like I went to school for a really long time. I have a doctorate. Like,
yeah.
So I think once I graduated college, I'm like I need something to learn. Like, what do I need to do? So when I started learning tarot, it, like it was, like just trying to learn, and everything was so like, when you're reading about it, like this card means this and that. And it was like, but it's a naked lady, like in the stream. Like, can we like, like, why are we taking this so seriously? And I honestly don't remember. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to ask my team when the first time I did shitty tarot was. But it's just, I like being the life of the party. Like, and I get excited when I'm with my friends and we're in a new place. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I don't remember where shitty tarot.
Blame it on the aneurysm. Just
absolutely. You started beforehand.
So, like, for me, like, well, mediumship, they always say that the spirits that can, the special message that needs to be delivered from a particular spirit, they'll go to that medium, because that medium has the ability to deliver the message that they need, for that time. So, like, so every medium, has some kind of uniqueness to them that brings certain spirits to them to deliver whatever message, or location or something, whatever. So I think in your case, I think it's a great way to, like, take something that is taken so seriously, but still deliver that message. And it's not in any way meant to be negative or insulting to the tarot community. It's your take on how to deliver a message. And there's a lot of people that are nervous to come and do things like tarot readings, or but if they come to you for their first tarot reading and they think it's hilarious, it's a softening, and they still get some kind of message from it, some kind of experience. And that's the way somebody will take something in, as opposed to taking it seriously. Because there are a lot of people, they need humor over anything. Like, go to a funeral and they need humor to get through the funeral. So the humor has its place, I believe. So I don't take it in any way in a negative.
Yeah. I mean, I always kind of have the mantra of, like, there's two ways to go through life. Like, you can either laugh about what happens to you, or you can cry.
Exactly.
And especially now, like the last little over a year, like I've really had to remember that, like, I can either cry about what happened to me, like, or I can make the best of it. And that's what I'm going to do. And like, it's not meant to be insulting or, mean in any way, but like,
I think it's great.
Like one of my team members, I had a dream about her the other day, and in the dream, her and her like boyfriend were upset about a plan for a nuclear fallout, like for a power plant, because they live in Toledo, like near a nuke plant.
Yeah.
And I called her and was like, I have a message for you. And I was like, you're mad about the nuke plant. And I was like, but actually what it was is like, because in the dream it was like there's already a plan. Like you're worried about this big problem, but there's already a plan that you can download on the internet, like of what to do if this happens, you know? So like it seems kind of this like crazy thing, like you and your boyfriend are fighting about nuclear meltdown. Like, but you know, like what it was like you're gonna have a disagreement about something, but like there's a plan, so it's okay. Like don't stress about it. So
that's awesome.
I guess that's my talent. Is
it is
giving messages in a funny and less serious and dramatic way.
I agree. Okay, so you have another project because you're not busy enough already doing things. So it's a podcast called Supernatural Side Quest.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I kind of view it as a kind of like a companion to the Paranormal Passport. I'm gonna always get my Vanna White moments. So yeah, I kind of view it as a companion to that because especially me and my teammate Jackie, we tend to always ride to locations together because we live like 20 minutes away from each other. So we always carpool and we always find something fun and crazy to get ourselves into, like on the way. Like, because I don't feel like you should, like, the big example is Indiana State Sanatorium. It's like probably a good like 6.5, 7 hours from us. And I don't just want to be in the car for 7 hours, like driving through Ohio and Indiana. Like, it's boring as hell. So we will look for like metaphysical shops in Indianapolis, or we'll like find a cool Airbnb to stay at like halfway in between, or like we just always find something really fun to do. We usually get in trouble for it because then we're late, or like we forgot something because we've done like just having fun. Like it's literally what it is. It's just having fun. So we call those our side quests. So the podcast is kind of meant to like talk about some of these haunted places, but we're not getting there right off the bat. Like we have lots of other things to explore and side quests too. So we have our intro episode that just kind of explains. That's with my teammate Rachel. So I kind of have different projects and different things with each of us. But Rachel and I talk about like our intro to the paranormal, how we met, because I collected her randomly at Ohio State Reformatory. So like how we met and kind of like what the goal for the podcast is. So we have that out. We put it out on Halloween, and then like actual regular new episodes will start releasing at the first of the year. But we already like we're working on getting like a good chunk of episodes recorded ahead of time, and it's already all over the place. We do. I'm sure you're shocked to hear this. We have a segment called Dramatic Readings. So we interrupt our own broadcast to present a dramatic reading. So far the dramatic readings are of like urban legends, like in the location that we're in, but we're kind of hanging in the Cleveland area right now. We have our dramatic like interruption readings on urban legends. We kind of talk about those. So it's just like two best friends like talking about fun, spooky, scary, stuff that we enjoy, and we don't take ourselves seriously at all. So.
Who's doing the dramatic readings? Are you doing them, or are they coming in? Would you each play a character, or do you read it like a news report?
Kind of like a news report. So
okay.
Hold on, let me clear my brain for a second. So it would be like, and now for a dramatic reading of The Legend of the Kirtland Melonheads. Insert dramatic music. Like there is actually dramatic, but then it's like the quiet of Kirtland, Ohio, holds tale of strange, abused orphan children. Da, da, da. Like, so it's just kind of like, giving information in like a funny and silly way. And yeah, I'm not like, I'm like, am I spoiling anything? It's my own show. Like, I can spoil my own thing. But yeah, the first one that we have recorded that has that legend of the Kirtland melon heads in it is on our way to Madison Seminary. Because Kirtland and Madison are maybe like 20 or 30 minutes apart. So we kind of, we interrupt ourselves to talk about the legend, and then we talk about if we would go hunting, and investigating the melon heads. So, little spoiler, we decide that no, we will not, because we're old now and worry more about like trespassing and being arrested. So, so it's just kind of like a fun, like, I think the dramatic readings will all be urban legends. And that's kind of like the fun way to, because how can you talk about a melon head
in a very dramatic way?
Like how like that, I feel like that needs to be talked about dramatically. Melon head. Like
I didn't even know what the melon heads were until I don't even know, like a year ago, 6 months ago. I had no idea. I'd never heard of them.
Yeah, maybe like you don't casually bring that up in conversation. So I feel like, like it needs to be playful and fun, and that's how you talk about, that stuff. It's what works for us. So Rachel interrupts our broadcast, and then I give the dramatic reading. But she has I don't know if you've met Rachel or not, but she has a very soothing, like, podcast voice. She does really good. So
oh no, I think I have met her once before. Yeah. I think weren't you on like the ship? I mean, it was either a Writer's Inn or the cruise ship. I can't remember which one. I feel like I met her at one of them.
Yeah. But yeah, so we might have her do some dramatic readings too, but I just like completely on the side. I was like, I'm going to record these. We'll see if they work, like, or not. And I recorded it and like sent it to a few friends that have kind of been like our, like people that we bounce ideas off of, and everyone thought it was hilarious. So this should have been something that I thought of this ahead of time, and I could have sent it to you and we could have played it. But hopefully you'll be hearing it soon. First of the year, it'll come out.
Yeah, tune in to hear it. That's
yes. There we go. Why give it away for free now when I can ask you to download and listen to it later?
For when you go to you said that when you go on your road trips, you stop at like little shops and things like that. Will you be doing something like that also in your podcasts, like stopping in locations?
So this will be probably the first episode that comes out. So it's not, like I said, not really like spoiling a whole lot, but our first episode, like on the way to Madison Seminary, we spend a good portion of it at Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland. So we talk about some of the like lore, urban legend, like kind of history of there. And then obviously we're going to be tired afterwards. So we're going to stop at the Steel Mansion, which is right down the street from.
Oh, I love the Steel Mansion.
Yeah. So we're stopping there for sleep. And then we have bypassed melon head hunting, but we decided we'll probably like maybe watch a movie in bed, or whatever, like from the comfort of the beds in the Steel Mansion. But yeah, like the goal is like little, just like most people don't know what the Steel Mansion is. Like it's just beautifully restored old building. And really the goal is to get people to discover the same stuff that we've discovered. Yeah. So we're kind of hitting up all of those, fun, some well-known, some not, like places on the way. So yeah, that's the whole goal.
Okay, so where can people hear the podcast? Spotify and where else?
Spotify, like Apple Podcasts, like I don't know if it I think it's just called Apple Podcasts, like you have on your phone. Pretty much anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. We upload it everywhere. So, but I know Spotify and Apple are probably or at least like where I would listen to them would be the two main places. So
awesome.
yeah.
And your book, where can your book be purchased, and when will the next book in the series be released?
It's rolling along the bottom now.
That's what reminded me to ask you.
See, this is like brain therapy to figure like going backwards to like read the scroll. Pretty easy. Kindofwokeparanormal.com. They're both technically in pre-order right now because horrible problem to have. I sold out of the Great Lakes. Yeah, so like I said, it took a little bit longer than I was hoping. I was hoping to have Appalachia like at the printer and started printing by now. But there's these like few last places that I'm really holding out hope like will get back to me. But it will be at the printer very soon. Takes like about 4 to 6 weeks, and then I will ship them or pick them up. Like you can pick them up for me however I see you. But yeah, pre-order both the books on there, and they won't be sent out right away. They're on pre-order, but yeah, they will be sent out as soon as I get them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and our podcast, you can, like I said, right now the intro episode's out. So it's Supernatural Side Quest. You can search for us and find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And then we'll eventually get that linked up like on our website as well. So there we are. Look how cute. That's me with a shaved head. So yeah, it's fun just to, and again, I feel like the moral of the story with me in general is I'm not taking anything seriously. Like you have to laugh about life, the good, the bad, the ugly, like you have to find the humor in it. So that's, if you're wanting some like deep, serious, like true crime or, whatever, not for you. Literally like, we have like bubblegum pink merch. But the like the lighthearted and stuff resonates with people. Like just don't take yourself too seriously.
It gets people through it, and it's comforting for people.
Yeah.
So I think it has its place, and it's necessary at times too. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it wholeheartedly.
Yes.
Also, your Galentine's event is going to be February 23rd.
Yes.
12 p.m.
Yep, at the Ross House. So please get a shitty reading here. Let me just draw one card for the event. Look, all of us, King of Cups, we're all gonna be sitting on a throne of shitty messages. I can't make this shit up. I literally just pulled this out of my deck. So if this doesn't show you how this event is going to go, I don't know what does. So
I agree.
Yeah. And it's supporting something, like I said, it means the Brain Aneurysm Foundation helps you read, helps people like me alive.
And of course, your hosts, Barb Young and the Ross House, also helping out to helping a great cause.
Yeah. And they're in the book. So A, buy the book. So then you have it to B, stamp once you get there and write your
There you go.
So I also have the stamps. This is my stamp. Like, can't even see it because it is, all inked up. But I do have stamps and stuff for sale too. Some of the locations have them, some of them don't. It's kind of a hit or miss. But the goal will eventually be to get everyone to get a stamp. But until then, you can get your own and stamp your book and work on it at home. So yeah.
Well, I hope every location starts to have that stamp for you.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I really think it's a great idea. We go to paranormal investigations play an important role in a lot of people's lives that enjoy this stuff. And so to be able to stamp it to say you were there, just like traveling around the world, it's pretty cool. And maybe you can do one maybe one day you're going to be back on here saying Paranormal Passport Europe.
Yes. Cool. Goals. I love that. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's writing your own book. And a lot of these places offer like daytime tours, history tours. So if you're not into like after dark super spooky, like I've had friends that bought these, and there are, like I said, a good amount that like There's bed and breakfasts in here, like a lot of different places that you don't have to be a hardcore investigator with a team. There's a lot of different, different
The
avenues.
history of the place in general, period. Ooh.
Yeah. If you're into history and architecture and stuff, like it still works.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kristen, for joining us. It's been fun.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed seeing you.
Nice to meet you, Jude. Not met JD. Meet you, Irene. This is our like virtual hug. I feel like we always are kind of busy running different places when we run into each other. So virtual hugs.
Always.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen, for joining us.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll make it down to Ohio sometime soon.
Yes. I'll give you a shitty reading for free in person.
He's always welcome in Ohio. He knows it.
Yes.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Hopefully you were able to learn something new during this video podcast. And then next week we are not going to have an episode because of the holiday. So keep an eye out for updates. Gonna go ahead and wrap this up.